There it is. By the way, did you buy that or did Jess?
Jess bought it for me.
Of course.
She
The wives,
she has,
they just crush.
she has a matching one. So we got done doing. I got done working on Friday, and I was on a call with Jake Ross, and and Jess was like, "Get off the phone." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "I got you something. I didn't get it," and so then she opened it up and I put it over. I put it on. I was like, I couldn't believe it. And so we have matching Grinch outfits. I think it's a running joke because as jolly as I am, I'm just not a really Christmassy person. Like I want to be, but I'm
Really?
just not like. Yeah, I know. It's like the biggest surprise to people. Like I try to get into the Christmas spirit, but like at my core, I definitely have a little bit of Grinch in me, and it comes out. Like I don't know what it is.
My wife is the ultimate. She starts planning for Christmas in October. Our tree is up the day after Thanksgiving. And Rob, she buys presents for everybody except the friggin' mailman. Like it's bonkers. She's the
Yeah.
most giving person I've ever met in my life.
I still have to get a couple of gifts because like I'm that bad at gift giving that I have to go get some more gifts.
All right, well, we are no this is a Grinch-free zone today. So let's kick
All
it
right,
off.
let's do
So
it.
welcome to the ugly sweater day of Vibes and Ventures. My badass banker friend Rob Hughes, who is full on Grinch outfit today. I am
Yes.
Steve Walsh, also known as the Hands-On Angel, and I have my wife has hooked me up with this tremendous ugly sweater, which, by the
So good.
way, if you like a nice libation at the holidays, comes with pockets. So we are ready to crush. And before we jump into my three things, Rob, first of all, I love the outfit, and special shout out to our boy Greg Stein from Triple G Ventures, who
Yeah.
watched the first two episodes of the pod, and in his loving way was like, "You guys were good, you weren't great. You need to be more you." And when Rob and I are at our best, in a lot of cases we're loud and obnoxious, but then we call that Tuesday. But we're like talking over each other and we're just riffing on shit. And it's when we're at our full self. And I think Greg, who we both know really well, was nice enough to just ping us and go, just be you guys. Forget about scripting, forget about polish, just be who you are, because that's really what resonates with founders, because you guys just sort of tell it like it is. So we're going to do our
Oh,
best to be our full self today.
that dovetails into my first thing. Do I go into our three things?
Right off the top. Go ahead. I'm going to open my libation.
Oh, you're gonna do one? Oh, I should have done one. Hold
I'm
on.
not drinking out. This is Perrier though, so I have not hit I'll hit that later.
It's okay. You do you. You're an adult. All right. So we always do our three things. That's like we might have to expand this up to our 20 things or our 30 things because we text each other constantly. By the way, we're going to be bringing a couple of things on the road this year that are really exciting. We'll talk about it in one of the upcoming pods. Our plans for 2025 are sweeping. All right, so the first thing one of the things I sent you first this week was this tweet from John Rush. It's talking about like the future of software companies, what's going to be happening as a result of these large language models, how it's going to change the operations of a company. And then the part that I really focused on, I thought grabbed me the most was like the points 5 on. These founders will will be distributors first. Their key talent will be distribution and winning the attention of their niche. Founder-led companies will appraise brands with the founder equals the brand, and that's like, and you can see as the next point. I'm going to read these because I think they're really good. We can already see how Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, Mr. Beast, and Lex Friedman have stronger distribution than multi-billion-dollar companies, and it looks surreal, but it's facts. Okay, I don't know if you saw this. This is going to be like a little tirade. Did you see the new show that Mr. Beast is doing on Amazon?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I heard it's sick.
It's visually something. Like it's visually something to like we haven't. It's. I'm not going to ruin it. Go take a look. I mean, definitely the people's responses to losing is off the charts. Like I probably was more concerned for their mental health care than I've been watching any show. However, it's wildly entertaining, and I can't wait for the next couple episodes to drop. But to the point of this tweet, which is the founders will be the brand, when software and technology in general becomes just a commodity, and you can build anything in a short amount of time or roughly anything, unless you have some sort of hardware or IP that's surrounding it. The quality of the founder and what the founder offers to the company or the mission is going to be even more important. And then it comes down to like being authentic and being a good brand ambassador for what you're building and you becoming the brand. So, or you are the brand. So I thought it was pretty interesting.
So it's funny. This is maybe 5-6 years ago when I started the whole Hands on Angel thing. And when things really started to take off for me, a good friend of mine who's been an entrepreneur since the 80s pinged me, and he said, I see you trying to productize all these things and launching products. I said, yeah. And he goes, you're missing out. I go, what do you mean I'm missing out? He goes, you are the friggin' product. Like, that's it. You are the product, Steve. You are your personality, how you approach startups. You are the product. And as soon as you realize that, the better. And now I think what you're seeing, Rob, is whether it's Mr. Beast, Elon, Bezos, like they just have iconic brands. And if you look at their handles, whether it's Twitter, LinkedIn, etc., their personal following is 10 to 20x bigger than their company following, even though the company is exponentially bigger. And I think Mr. Beast is probably the most real world example of, it was just a guy filming weird video crap. And then one day more people started following him more. And then it just exploded, absolutely exploded.
I think Amazon paid him something like $100 million to do a season of this show. It's incredible. Like, it's going to be one of the first shows that I've watched through on Amazon Prime as a result of, like, I saw a couple of the shorts and it looked insane. I'm like, I have to see what this is about. And sat down and watched it. And then it was so good that I was like, Jess, you got to watch this. So rewatched it, noticed a couple of other things. His brand and his ability to build brand is unprecedented. It's kind of incredible. But to the point of the post is like, well, where we're going, the qualities that a successful founder is going to have in the future, in the near future, and also kind of right now too. You have to be able to build a brand. You are a brand, and if you're unable to get your brand out there, or build a name for yourself and your company, it's going to be much, much harder to compete than it would be in the past, where you could sort of be maybe an ambiguous or a non-discrete founder. I think that's going to be far more rare in the future.
Well, makes total sense, man. Dude, special guest when we take stuff on the road, Mr. Beast on Vibes and Ventures. Come on.
Goals.
Guest appearance just swoops in and swoops out like 5 minutes. That's it.
Goals.
Goals for next year. All right. So my first, my three things. Number one, so this goes off of this next week between Christmas and New Year's, where it's like this weird week. Some people are working, some people aren't. I think founders would always say, we're always working with 24/7. I think it's an important week if you're a founder and in this ecosystem. And I use that under this phrase that I talked about with you earlier, Rob, which is it's a chance for us to recharge, to refresh, and to restart. Yeah. And I think all too often, founders and all of us, you and I alike, in business run so fast, we forget a couple things. We forget how much we put into this year and what we've accomplished. We forget the people that helped us get there at times. And we forget that we do this for a reason. And it's different reasons for everybody. For me, it's my family and my motivation for them to succeed and to build something. And I think sometimes you just run so fast, you don't take just a minute. And I think next week, although we don't think that as founders we can ever take time off, I think it is good just to take a pause and maybe to reflect, to recharge, refresh, and then to restart the year, restart your ideas. What can you do differently? And I guess the phrase I use with myself is question everything that you did. Question everything. Did I do the right events, the right post? Am I on the right platforms? Am I pushing myself to build the right relationships in the right ways? It's just a great way to reframe and restart and get ready for the new year. And I think so many people miss this opportunity because things have slowed down. It's a great chance to do it. It's one of the few times of the year you have the opportunity to do it. And by the way, no one's going to judge you, and no one gives a shit that you're taking a few hours to do this for yourself. We all think they do, that like someone's going to think less of you if you take a few hours off or a few days off. They won't. So just take this opportunity to recharge, refresh, and restart. But I'd love your thoughts.
You know, I think it's really wise. I was watching by one of the shows I keep track of called Buttery Bros on YouTube, and it's like these former CrossFit media guys that go out and do CrossFit and other challenges. One of the guys, Heber, did an Ironman on the last episode, And what struck me was like how often he was stopping to eat. Because like when you see Iron Man on TV, or you think of Iron Man, you think of someone continuously swimming and then changing as fast as they can, and then biking, and when you get done with that, they go right into running, and they're going the entire time. But in reality, that's not true. Like a lot of being able to complete an Ironman is about having the right amount of nutrition in your system, so that you're able to actually continue. Your body doesn't shut down. Right. It's really hard. You can't front load all of that. You have to actually stop at certain points, or on the run, try to, if you're really good, you can ingest that extra nutrition to keep you going. And I thought when you were talking, it harkened back to me. I was like thinking about that experience of watching him stop and thinking like, I didn't think they stopped. But no, they stop multiple times. They put in what they have to get out what they need to. And so sometimes what you think is, I need to keep going. That might not be the thing, the input that you need for the output that you need. So to take advantage of the fact that almost everybody is using this as a time of reflection. Almost everybody's taking a step back, evaluating the prior year, reprioritizing, stepping back so they can get some perspective, reconnecting with family and friends that maybe that you may have lost a little bit of touch with as a result of being so heads down. You forget when you're running super fast, you can leave your tribe behind. That can be a scary situation for anybody to be in, because we are by nature tribal people. We are tribal species. And so if you think I should be hustling because nobody else is hustling, this is my chance to make up for it. I don't remember if you ever saw these, but in the films growing up, I always remember these, Arctic races, and there was always one person in these endurance races who would blow past the first stop point where everybody else had stopped for the night, thinking I'm going to get some edge, and only to be found later, the next morning by the side of the trail, broken down or worse. And it's like, but these are like the cautionary tales we're trying to pass through so people understand, like, you are human. You can go really, really long, but you have to be smart about it. And there are reasons for these conventions or these traditions that they exist for a reason. And it's not because people are lazy. It's because we figured out you need to stop intermittently and reassess to make sure directionally you're going the right way, to regroup, to get back in touch with your people, with your tribe, and to celebrate time together. And you won't lose that much time. You won't lose that much perspective. You'll be fine.
Dude, I literally, as you were talking, I just threw the tweet up. Hey, founders, don't leave your tribe behind. Post, done. That's it. Epic. Great line. It's a freaking great line. This is what we do. Yeah. Welcome to the weekends of Rob and I. We just tweet the shit out of each other all day.
I know we gotta zone my handle.
We gotta redo the handle. Okay. Number 2 for me is this comes off a post. I will throw into the chat for everybody, and for those that can. The screen sharing's still a little rough for me, but let me see if I can work this out. Entire screen.
We all have things we struggle with.
So there's this post that Rob sent me from this person, Arjun, and it basically it's a video that talks about productivity and specifically Elon and why is he so productive. So the gist of the post is it talks about how is Elon able to run 4 or 5 companies simultaneously and be more productive as a CEO of 5 companies than most people can do with one. And it talked about how he looks at the universe, and it compared him to Andrew Carnegie, Rockefeller, all the folks in the industrial age. And it said in all of his companies, Elon is the lead problem solver for his company. Yeah. And when I think about that, I think to be a great founder, Rob, you need to be the lead problem solver both internally and externally for your customers. Yeah. Like I always say, if you really want to blow your company up, don't worry about you, worry about solving your customers' problems. You want to go viral, just become really good at solving other people's problems, and whether that's a product or a service, and you can literally own the world. And I think Elon probably does that better than almost anybody. He's the lead problem solver. And because of that, he's highly productive and can just do more and faster than most people. Regardless of what you think of Elon as a person, it is, you look at what he does from a business perspective and how he's able to do so much and go, how the hell does he pull that off? And I think he's just the lead problem solver. What do you think?
That method that they talk about, I think it's Andreessen was talking about in there too, was kind of crazy, where he does these 15-minute sit downs back to back to back to back all day long, 5-minute sit downs in some of his companies, and he just compiles all the information of what hurts the most, what the biggest problems are from multiple people, multiple levels of the organization. And he's like, okay, let me go solve them. And you go, wait, why aren't we all doing that?
It's unbelievable. It's absolutely, and I try to divide my day up into 30-minute blocks, and it's really allowed me to be super productive. Like I can't tell you the last time I did a 1-hour meeting. I just don't find them productive. After 30 minutes, I either lose focus or the topic loses focus for me. I don't know what it is, but
you don't have enough
your meetings down to 30 minutes,
You don't have enough good small talk. Like you can't get your small talk into medium talk. If you did, an hour is perfect.
I'm a small talk guy. That's it. That's why I like tweets.
Yeah. But you could, I know what you mean though. I almost get annoyed with the 30-minute one now too. Cause like within the first couple of minutes, you kind of get whether there's something there or not. And after that, you're just sort of like you either need more time or less time. We should build out a flex calendar feature where it's like, if this is going well, it's going to be 45 minutes. If it's not, it's going to be done in 5.
Almost like a little notification comes up and goes, need more time? Good meeting. You hit it, you get another 5 minutes. If not, it ends it right then.
Oh my God, that'd be a great dating app provider too. Like you go on a date, like this isn't going well. We just come pick the person up and take them away. It's like, get out of here. She's not having a good time, bro.
Awesome. All right, what's your number 2?
Yeah, hold on. I got to load it up because I'm slow today. All right. I still haven't completely gotten over how cold it was in the gym this morning. It's still getting to me.
You said it was like 5 degrees.
It was terrible. It was so bad. My hands are like still kind of wonky.
It's Charles Barkley.
So the second one,
that's terrible, man. That's terrible.
These two are on theme. So this is a graph of the percentage share of VC investments towards AI startups. This is not insignificant.
Okay.
Look at this. The percentage of capital raised by VC-backed private tech companies in the United States by AI companies in the billion. Look at this, 41% in Q1 through Q3 of this year. 40% last year.
It's almost half the market.
Crazy.
Is this all, Rob, is this all venture capital being raised?
Yeah, well, this is from, and this is PitchBook's data. So this is a PitchBook data stream, and it's sort of this idea like, I mean, maybe this is, I've always thought about innovation in these sort of waves, this idea of waves. And so, it's not one thing and then the next thing. It's sort of, it's like it comes in and then it goes out, and then it comes in further and then it comes out. It's like the tide, a high tide or a low tide. And you're just sort of like, it's not consecutive. Doesn't just keep going in one direction. It kind of recedes and then comes back. And we're seeing like a push inside of AI from a capital perspective, and as far as number of brains applying themselves towards pushing this technology forward in such a high concentration. I don't think we've seen it quite this hot before. And so it makes sense that there's a lot of capital. Maybe there's a sentiment that we can push it over the finish line or get to some AGI, get to some seminal moment in our species from a technological standpoint. But there is a lot. It feels like a lot of chips. I don't know if it's all in, but it's a lot of chips being pushed.
Pretty
to the
close,
center.
man. Almost half the capital is going to AI.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna points into point number 3 for me. This walks right into it. Peter Walker, a lovely man, by the way. I got to spend 30 minutes with him last week. I had to apologize multiple times because it felt like an interrogation more than anything. I just asked him so many questions. Very, very fascinating man. Has a real grasp on this idea that data leadership is the new way of marketing to your customers. But anyway, this is the AI valuation premium for 2024, and you can see what is going on here. This is non-AI valuations along this bottom line here. You can see there's sort of like a moment where it flattens out, and then you can see this orange wonderful line that looks like the growth chart from a pre-seed company that's telling us they're going to be worth billions of dollars in 3 years. It almost looks the same. I mean, you're talking about valuations that are almost three times that of non-AI companies. And so my immediate thought was, I mean, that looks like a bubble. If that's not a bubble, I don't know what a bubble is.
Yeah, and the question I always ask, Rob, is how much of this is true proprietary defensible LLMs and AI versus people just using wrappers for other stuff that's already been built, and how much of this is venture going, we can't answer that question because it takes too long, so let's just throw a bunch of money at freaking everything right now and just see which one wins.
But if you look at like the trends for like concentration of deals versus like spray and pray, the numbers indicate that it's not a spray and pray environment, that it's very much like picking winners and losers and doubling down on your winners. And so that probably is adding to this valuation where these AI companies are getting multiple rounds of funding at like maybe backed up by the same backers who are pricing the round upwards, but they're getting that valuation higher. But the ones that have it right now are getting a lot of capital and higher and higher valuations. And maybe that's throwing the stats a little out of whack. But there's nowhere any data I've seen, and maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong so many times. I don't care anymore. I'm happy to be wrong. This is my favorite place to be. That I don't think we're seeing that spray and pray approach almost anywhere. And so I would normally agree with you, but the number of deals versus the number of dollars, we're seeing less deals, higher valuation, so more conviction into the deals, which is exactly opposite of what you'd see in a spray and pray environment. So this isn't like it's an AI company and let me just see if it'll work. That's not what's happening. There's a lot of companies that are doing things in AI. Some are actually moving the needle forward in the technology. I believe for the most part, the companies that are getting the largest valuations in the space are those. But I don't know how to double click on the data, and maybe I'll reach out to Peter and see if he can do a research into that. But this idea that we're really putting a lot of chips into this space, we're really putting anchoring a lot of our hopes, especially in tech, on this technology. And maybe it pays off for it.
Quick question for you. Which Peter Walker, because there's a Peter Walker out of Long Island and a Peter Walker out of Michigan, and they both talk about hanging in the entrepreneurial space. Which Peter Walker? Young kid or bald guy?
I think this Peter Walker is in Silicon Valley.
Oh, so that's not either one of them looking at then. So because I'm looking, founder at youngstartup.com, other guy's a serial entrepreneur. But he's out of neither one of these are the guy. Which guy? Throw him in the chat.
He's the head of insights at Carta.
Got it. That Peter Walker. Okay.
And they have so much data, and it's really interesting to see the behavioral change that's going on right now, where like PitchBook data comes out very infrequently, and then Carta is just publishing something almost every day, insights about the industry. So if you're watching this, give Peter a follow, because he's doing some incredible work around data visualization and insights into the entire industry of venture-backed startups, venture LP investments, vintages on venture funds, all the things that have downstream effects on startups he's talking to and about. So I would highly recommend giving him a follow and staying up to speed with what's going on.
Got it. So my third one is a little bit of a pull on what you said at the beginning, which is a lot of cool stuff coming up for us in 25. You and I spent most of the weekend talking about what are we going to do different in 25? How are we going to do this? And part of that is going to be doing our thing in multiple cities, and we won't tease out what that looks like yet. We're still working through that. But I did sort of have I shot you a note over the weekend and chatted about it a little. I'll share my screen here just so people can get an idea of where my mind's at. For those that don't know, there's this group called the Savannah Bananas. And for anyone that's ever watched baseball, we know a couple things. Baseball is slow, it's boring, it takes too long, it's at times, most people leave the ballpark by 5 p.m. This group called the Savannah Bananas has just absolutely taken baseball by storm. They're changing the game. Games are shorter. They have cheerleaders that are over the age of 80. They light off fireworks. They have different rules. If a fan catches the ball, it's an out. They're really just making baseball fun, and they are absolutely exploding. They've gone from 10, 20,000 people to selling 1 million tickets to now they've sold 5 million tickets a year to come see them. And when I think about what you and I are trying to do for founders, I really think about how do we become the Savannah Bananas for startups? How do we do things in a unique way that is just not off the wall, but just thinking about startups differently, being more transparent than anyone's ever been with startups, telling founders what they need to hear at times when they really need to hear it? Because you know this, Rob, not everybody can build a venture scale startup. Not everybody's ready to build a venture scale startup. Maybe some of them don't have the ability to build the product or present themselves in the right way to VCs. And I think all too often, the industry's full of shit and lies to founders. And I think you and I don't do that. We try to be very candid with them. So as we start to take this show on the road, how do we create that excitement around the startup ecosystem? How do we do it differently than it's ever been done before? And how do we do it in a way that's truly authentic? So when I saw that interview with the Savannah Bananas, I'm like, how do we become that for startups?
I appreciate that. And I was at a conversation with a prominent VC out on the West Coast. He was speaking in Kendall Square, and he said something that's kind of stuck with me. It was that if you play by the rules of the game, you're going to lose because the incumbents have all the advantages, and they're going to squeeze you to death. You have to change the game. You have to change the conversation. You have to change the rules of the game. And so when you were talking about how we're going to do things differently, and then also how the Savannah Bananas, the bananas of Savannah that are not unlike the color of my Grinch outfit. I wish I had as much potassium as those bananas, or as much skill as those baseball players, because I've never done a backflip. If we want to play the game the way it's always been played, it's probably not going to be successful because there's too many people playing that way. So how do you switch it up? How do you change things up? How do you change the conversation, do things differently? I think the ultimate thing, one of the things you and I talk about a lot, is that we get really down on this idea that every startup should raise VC money. There's so many companies that don't exist today because they spent over-allocated time chasing capital versus chasing customers. And so, like, if part of our mission is, being honest with founders and giving good feedback, I think another mission of mine would be like, let's cut the amount of founders that go out of business because they were misallocating their time around fundraising versus building their business. If we can help even minusculely diminish that percentage and help founders realize, like, you can build something incredible and a lot of times you won't need venture partners to get it done. And if you do build something incredible and they come along and say, hey, we want to invest in this and here's why, if it's aligned with what you want to do, by all means, go for it. But this idea that every company that's doing something with technology needs to be, venture backed, I don't think tracks anymore. I mean, you can build a company relatively inexpensively and test out your ideas and start acquiring customers and start building a brand and do all the things that make an incredible business before having those conversations or while you're having those conversations. But that money isn't a necessity for so many companies like it used to be. You're not having to build a data farm anymore. Like compute is getting cheaper and cheaper. You can do this. And so I do think, like, yeah, let's change the game and, like, be very honest. But one of the offsprings, or one of the things that we always want, is more founders to be able to do what they want to do, to build the company they want to build. And if you're building something incredible and it has enough upward trajectory and there's enough there for not only you to make money, but your investors and your investors to make money, then somebody will probably reach out to you and say, like, hey, well, have you thought about raising capital?
Take this capital, please.
I saw that crazy stat that the top quartile funds, 90% of their portcos are outbound reaches. So they're reaching out to potential companies that they want to invest in. And so if you're not getting reached out to, it's most likely that you're not creating a strong enough signal. So spend time creating a strong enough signal that people are like, hey, I got to invest. I got to be in. They're doing something spectacular. And if you're not, like, build an awesome business. Like, what's the problem?
Right. Yeah, it's I I think you've made it when two things happen. One, if you're looking for investors, they're looking for you, and more importantly, when customers are finding you organically, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I used the product, and Rob Hughes said it was the bomb, so I'm here, and tell me more." Or like that's when you know you have something. It's when people are reaching out to, whether it's investors, customers. That's when you know you're onto something. Just is.
If your customers are obsessed and they're paying you for the thing that you're doing, and you're making money off of that, at some point you're either going to not need the venture capital money, or the venture capital money is going to come to you. That's just what it is.
Right. And you're right. Not everybody can be venture scale. Not everyone's meant to be venture scale. By the way, not every founder wants to build $100 million or $1 billion business, because that comes with its own set of challenges. It just does.
That's a whole other pod. 100%. That's a whole other pod. I think, like, if we accept that as truth, and I think you and I are biased towards that direction, I think it's also important to just have a really honest conversation about, like, do I actually want to do that thing? Is that the journey I want to sign up for? Or do I really want to build this thing for me? And if it turns into that, great. And one of those, it just gives you a lot more opportunity to succeed. And the other one is sort of a, yes or no. And that's hard for people to accept, I think.
That's awesome. Look at that.
Yeah.
My 3 things, 30 minutes, start to finish. Right on it.
Do we really? Holy cow. Dude, we're getting sharp with it. We're
sharp. Fucking locked in. So, it's about the hoodie. It's about the hoodie, and it's about Greg Greg Stein going, can you guys get your shit together, please?
I honestly think, and since we're right on time, so now we can blow past our time threshold. I do think it's really important to have people in your life that just tell you the truth. That's an important quality to have. And did it hurt hearing Greg say, like, you need to be yourself on the pod more? Yeah, but thank you, Greg. Like, he wasn't wrong. Just because it hurt doesn't mean he's wrong. You and I
for each other in a lot of cases. We do that all the time. Like, you'll send me something like, "Hey, I'm thinking about this." I'm like, "Yeah, that's not your best choice. Just not."
Ozempic Thor.
That was Ozempic Thor. I'm like, not your best. And then I even did the litmus test, which you usually do. I went to my wife and I go, "Rob's thinking about this." She goes, "Yeah, that's probably not a good choice." He said, "Ask Jess."
It's still alive, dude. It's still alive. Let me put it up here. It's still alive. It's not dead yet. We are crowdsourcing new names.
It is not the brand you want to attach to you. It's not. Ozempic Thor is not good. Negative connotation.
There we go. That's the overhaul. It went from maybe it went too far, Steve. It went from like a LinkedIn profile to like a I don't know what kind of profile that'd be, like a Grindr profile. I don't know. This thing got changed up real fast.
It's like it's like it's a combination of like Grindr meets Weight Watchers. It's bad.
I don't know about Weight Watchers. Does Weight Watchers have like a personality? I don't know. Does it?
You could be the personality. Ozempic Thor. Of course, you're like,
you have a Weight Watchers personality.
In life. Yeah.
Dude, that's the worst compliment you could give somebody. You have Weight Watchers personality.
Not good.
It's not good.
So we got to go get ready for the holidays. So even though you're a little grinchy, so thank you to everyone that's joining. Look for some huge things from us in 2025. And thank you for joining us in the Vibes and Ventures podcast today. Ugly Sweater Day. Thanks to my partner in crime, Rob Hughes, my brother from another mother. If I don't tell you often enough, my friend, I appreciate everything you do for me. I really do.
Appreciate you as well.
Awesome, man. Folks, be good. We'll see y'all next week.